Now the way I'm going to start fixing this is with these little patch panels, and you can see that fits in there pretty good. Right, that fits in there nice. So what I'm going to do is glue it in there with panel adhesive, and that should actually, first I'll grind it out a little more over here too, but it should stick in there very well. It's non-structural part, and it will be impervious to water. That panel adhesive crap is some good stuff, but it's expensive. But if you're using tiny little patch panels, you're not using too much of it anyway. You're using steel, so it should work. Had some little pinholes up here. I just took the DA, what do you call it, the Dremel tool, ground it down, pushed it in a little bit with the vice grips. Real fast job, and I had a little bit left of the panel adhesive. I filled it in. Now I know on the inside there's still rust, but I can actually get on the inside of it by putting chassis saver over the rust, which I really love that stuff, because when there's rust, it actually sticks on there a hell of a lot better than if it's bare metal. So it's where the two pieces of metal join together inside. Just pour some chassis saver in there, and it'll freaking glue the whole damn thing tight, and that'll probably last. But this thing only is going to get painted. The hood's going to get painted with truck bed lining anyway, so yeah, like I said, if it gets smashed with rocks and stuff like that, it'll just bounce right off. That's what we want. Yeah, I back up the Jeep into here, you know, keeps the wet and rain off of here, but start the bike up every once in a while. It's warming up just to, you know, I start it every week, I got no problem. It sits a while, it's a pain in the ass to start, but, you know, I got like a bunch of vehicles, so it's better off having a pile of old vehicles than one new complicated piece of shit with a bunch of computers that'll go brick dead. You'll never have a way of fixing it, you know? You want old stuff, old school work. Okay, so I ground out all around the hole, and actually on the inside, on this side, I used a Q-tip and chassis saver because it's probably got some surface rust on the inside, even though I think I ground out all the metal, to maybe, you know, lock it all in. Now this piece of metal I made, which is going to go over this, should fit pretty tight, and you know, I cleaned it off with some chemicals and stuff like that, so it should be on there pretty good. And what I'm going to do is glue it in there with panel adhesive, so it's not a structural part, and that should be impervious to water from the inside and the outside. So, but nothing's going to get on the inside anymore, so that should be good enough. That's good enough. It's better than using fiberglass or something like that. And the next best thing to welding, and actually in a way welding could always leave the metal on the other side exposed, even if you're using weld-through primer. So the panel adhesive is good actually for little repairs like this. Okay, so made a couple patch panels for here. Basically that's going to go like that. Panel adhesive, ones are going to over here like this, and truck bed linings going over it. After, I'll just get hit with the DA, that's all I'll do, and put some rust killing primer. And you can see up here, you know, that'll be drying. So I got the new roof, and between the rubber up here that's going on here, I'm not going to glue it down. It wasn't glued down in the first place, but what I'm going to use is RTV gasket adhesive, so it won't stick like really strong, but it'll be enough to make it impervious for water to get in there, but it will still be able to lift off, so that'll be the perfect thing for it. RTV, black RTV. So I got the top in. When this dries, I'll just drill a hole for where it's got to go through the sheet metal on there, and this should be pretty solid. I mean, this is not a structural part, and like I said, they make cars like this today. They glue them together if it's non-structural, so no way in hell will it rust. I did on the back side, inside here, with chassis saver, and the whole back of this is going to get coated with panel adhesive, so it should be impervious to rust. That's the most important thing. And then the whole thing's going to get it's going to get truck bed lining. It's going to be 50% truck bed lining. Like from this line up will be truck bed lining, the middle of it's going to be shiny black, just a automotive acrylic enamel with catalyst. And from this body line down and around the fender flowers will be truck bed lining. So it's going to be half and half. So that'll look alright for a Jeep. Yeah, and the stuff I'm using is 3M panel adhesive. That's the part number. You can see it right there, 08115. You're supposed to use this in like a gun that costs like 60 bucks. And, you know, like if you're putting on panels, but I'm not putting on panels. I'm basically using it like fiberglass epoxy or something, except it's a hell of a lot stronger, a hell of a lot more flexible and durable. It's totally waterproof. So it's, you know, I'm mixing it up with like a little squeegee, and I'm using it kind of like Bondo, but it's not Bondo. It's way more expensive than Bondo. This is like 30 bucks for this little container. So, but you don't need a lot of it when you're using little metal panels. So it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. You know, if you're using a flange tool and you're fixing some rust with a flange tool and you cut it out nice and clean, you can do a nice repair just as good as a weld with this damn stuff, and it should be impervious to problems in the future, because since you're not welding, you can coat the inside of the panel with something that's totally rust proof. So it's not a bad way to do it. So the way I'm doing it, like I said, I'm just going to put truck bed lining over that windshield frame, so it'll be fine for a Jeep. I just want to make sure there's no future rust. Well, I got the goop on there, and just waiting for it to dry. I'm gonna, you know, I got this file sitting up here so it holds a damn piece on there better. But what I'll probably do is that instead of even going, I might either do the DA sander on it with 180, or I might even use the edge of the belt sander. I don't give a damn, because then I'll go over it with some primer, and it's gonna get, like I said, truck bed lining all along the top here. This is not going to get, you know, paint per se. I may paint it over the truck bed lining later if I sand down the truck bed lining a little bit, get a little more smoother, but it's not really that critical because it's going to be 50-50. But that's the way to kill some of the rust. This goop, this panel adhesive is expensive, but it's impervious. It's impervious. So it'll last, and that's the thing. You don't want it to, you're stopping all the future rust. Yeah, the other thing is too, you know, I used to paint and touch up the frame on this thing underneath the seat. This is on the motorcycle, the Harley. That chassis saver is the right crap to use for this stuff, because no matter what paint I put on the front of the forks here, I mean the front of the frame, it chips off, man. And that chassis saver, man, I've been noticing it's like a rock. I got it on some of the hammers. I just dunked the hammer in it. I didn't even clean them off, and it's staying on there pretty damn good. I was surprised, you know. So it's some strong stuff. It's really good for the motorcycle too, besides using it on the Jeep. So that's what I'll be using it on that stuff too. Glad I found that product. It's been around a long time, and I never knew it was around until I was looking on the internet. It's good stuff for preventing rust. By the way, this Jeep starts up no problem with that new Toyota carburetor on here. I've been starting it like every day, every other day. Starts right up, runs great. So that carb is a damn thing to get for this thing. It really is. It runs perfect.